Have you ever wondered how debt can be seen as a tool for making money? It may sound counterintuitive, even paradoxical, but in the world of finance, not all debts are created equal, and some can indeed be powerful tools for creating wealth. Embark on a journey of exploration into this seemingly contradictory concept. Now, you will discover the answers to all these questions simply by listening as you go about your daily tasks. Let's begin. Debt is often viewed as a financial burden, a dark cloud looming over one's financial freedom. Instead, it can be used as a stepping stone to wealth. A bold thought, isn't it? But here's the crux of the matter. We're not talking about all types of debt here. Consumer debts like credit card balances and cash advances are what we usually refer to as problematic debts. They are liabilities that can drag you into a financial abyss. However, there's another type of debt known as good debt, a more constructive kind that helps you create assets instead of consuming them. Imagine a debt that assists you in building your resources rather than depleting them. It sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Unlike student loans, good debt involves assets like mortgages or business loans that can be long-term investments generating income or appreciating in value over time. It's like planting a seed today to reap its fruits tomorrow. But how does this work? How can we turn this responsibility into an asset? The secret lies in leveraging. In the time when you use borrowed capital or debt to amplify the potential return of an investment, it's akin to using someone else's ladder to reach the apples on the higher branches of a tree. However, before you get too excited and start borrowing left and right, remember this: with great power comes great responsibility. Using debt to create wealth requires careful planning, financial discipline, and skill. Understanding the associated risks in depth, it's not a plan to get rich quick. It's a strategic approach to financial growth. Now that we've introduced this idea, let's delve into how this process works, unraveling the intricacies of this financial paradox and discovering how you can do it. Use your debt not as a shackle, but as a launching pad for financial success. First and foremost, it's essential to understand what debt is and how it essentially operates. Debt is money borrowed from one party to another, with the borrower or debtor obligated to repay the original amount borrowed, known as the principal, plus an agreed-upon extra amount called interest. This repayment is typically spread over a period defined by the credit terms. So how do you imagine being a baker who needs an oven but doesn't have the money to buy it? Let's say you borrow $1,000 from lender A to purchase the oven. The lender charges you a certain percentage of interest on his risk, in addition to the $1,000. Over time, you repay the principal and the interest according to the agreed terms. This is the basic mechanics of debt. It's a tool, a leverage that, when used wisely, can help businesses and individuals grow their personal wealth. Now, let's explore its potential as a wealth-building tool. Not all debts are created equal. There are good debts and bad debts. It's a simple statement, but can have profound implications, especially when it comes to wealth creation. Let's start with good debt. Wait, is there really such a thing as good debt? The answer is a resounding yes. Good debt is debt that has the potential to increase your wealth over time. It's like planting a seed today that grows into a money tree tomorrow. For example, taking out a mortgage to buy a house isn't just about buying a place to live. It's investing in real estate, where your equity or the amount of property you actually own can increase over time. This appreciation in value could be much higher than the interest you pay on the loan. You can turn your debt into a wealth-building tool or consider student loans as an investment in your future earning potential. The knowledge and skills you gain can lead to higher-paying jobs and better career opportunities. Yes, you'll have to pay back the loan with interest, but the return on your investment can be significant. Now, let's talk about bad debt. Bad debt is debt that diminishes your net worth. Wealth is like having a hole in your pocket that grows bigger and bigger. Credit card debt is the best example of this. Using credit cards to buy things you can't afford and don't really need is the epitome of bad debt. You're not investing in anything. You're actually paying more for that item in the long run because of interest. This is a debt that does not yield a return on your investment. Car loans can also be considered dubious debts. While a car may seem like a necessity, It is a depreciating asset, unlike a home, which appreciates in value over time. So, how do you distinguish between good debt and bad debt? Just ask this question: will this debt increase or decrease my wealth? The answer will tell you whether it's good or bad. Knowing the difference between good and bad debt is fundamental to using debt to create wealth, and it's a lesson worth learning. So, how can we leverage good debt to our advantage? This is a question that lingers in the minds of many, but fret not, for today we shall unravel it for you. Good debt, as mentioned earlier, is a type of debt that helps you generate income and increase net worth over time. So, how do we leverage it? Let's explore a few ways. One common way to benefit from good debt is by purchasing real estate. Owning property is not just about having a roof over your head, it's an investment. When you take out a mortgage to purchase a property, you essentially use other people's money to acquire an asset that you can rent out for extra income. If your mortgage debt helps you pay off your mortgage and even generates a profit, then that's good. Starting a business is another way to use debt wisely. A business loan can be used to finance startup costs, purchase equipment, and even expand operations. The idea here is to use the loan to create or grow a business that generates more money than the cost of the investment. Even education can be seen as good debt. Student loans, when used wisely, can pay off in the long run. The knowledge and skills acquired can lead to higher-paying jobs and better career opportunities. However, remember that all these strategies come with their own risks. It's important to conduct thorough research, have a solid plan, and understand the terms of your debt in the financial world. It's not just about avoiding debt, it's about knowing how to use it to your advantage. It's about using leverage to create wealth, using other people's money to make more money. And that's the beauty of good debt. When used wisely, it can serve as a powerful tool to create wealth. It's not a burden, but an opportunity. It's not a trap, it's a step toward financial freedom. So, don't be afraid of good debt. Embrace it, use it, and let it work for you. Debt can be a tool, but it can also be a trap. Some traps to avoid include excessive borrowing, especially when you see debt as an unlimited resource. But remember, debt is like fire. It can keep you warm, or it can burn down your house. Using too much leverage is like adding too much fuel to the fire. It can quickly spiral out of control. Therefore, always maintain a balance and use debt wisely and moderately. Another trap to avoid is not planning for potential risks. Just as a sailor wouldn't set sail without checking the weather, you shouldn't dive into debt without understanding the risks. Whether it's rising interest rates, declining income, or an economic downturn, these are all potential risks to consider. Always have a plan B, and even a plan C, to navigate through stormy financial seas that may arise. Another common mistake is ignoring the cost of debt, even when you're making money. Remember, debt comes with a price, interest. Especially when interest rates are high, this cost can eat into your profits. So, always factor in the cost of debt when calculating potential returns. Lastly, avoid being overly optimistic. Having a positive outlook is great, but when it comes to borrowing, it's better to be realistic. Don't assume that everything will go according to plan. Prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. In conclusion, avoiding these pitfalls is crucial. Excessive borrowing, not planning for potential risks, ignoring the cost of debt, and being overly optimistic can turn your debt into a burden instead of using it to your advantage. Avoiding these pitfalls will help ensure that your debt works for you, not against you. Now, let's look at some real-world examples of people who have successfully used debt to create wealth. Let's consider the story of Robert Kiyosaki, the author of the best-selling book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Kiyosaki is a firm believer in using debt to create wealth. He is famous for using loans to invest in real estate properties and then renting them out for income. Kiyosaki's strategy was to use rental income to pay off loans and pocket the surplus as profit. He built a significant real estate portfolio entirely financed by debt. Or consider the example of the multinational fast food chain, McDonald's. While most people associate McDonald's with burgers and fries, the company's real moneymaker is its real estate assets. McDonald's often acquires land for its restaurants using debt for financing. After these purchases, the company creates a stable income stream by leasing the land to franchise owners, covering the debt repayments more than adequately. Let's also not forget the story of Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla and SpaceX, who was on the brink of bankruptcy in 2008. He invested his own money into his companies and was deeply in debt, yet Musk doubled down instead of declaring bankruptcy. He took on more debt to keep SpaceX afloat, and his gamble paid off. Today, both Tesla and SpaceX are worth billions, all thanks to the power of debt. Lastly, let's consider the countless homeowners who used mortgages, a type of debt, to purchase homes as their property values increased over time. These homeowners saw their net worth rise while their mortgage payments remained relatively stable, as demonstrated by these examples. The key takeaway is that debt can indeed be a stepping stone to financial prosperity. In summary, here are the important points to remember when using debt to make money. Firstly, understanding debt is crucial. It's not always bad, and it's not always good. It's a financial tool that can be used for your advantage or disadvantage. What's important is understanding its nature, cost, and potential return on investment. Secondly, we've learned the difference between good debt and bad debt. Bad debt typically involves borrowing to finance depreciating assets or consumables, while good debt is used to invest in assets or opportunities that appreciate in value or generate income over time, such as a business or real estate. Thirdly, we've discussed how to leverage good debt, which involves using borrowed money to invest in ventures that yield returns higher than the interest rate. It's about making debt work for you rather than against you. However, remember that returns are not guaranteed, so it's important to evaluate the risk and potential reward of each investment. Next, we've talked about pitfalls to avoid. It's crucial not to overextend yourself. Having a clear repayment plan and regularly monitoring your investments are essential. Remember, the goal is to increase your wealth, not bury yourself in unmanageable debt. Lastly, we've looked at real-world examples of how entrepreneurs and investors have successfully used debt to make money. While these examples serve as guides and inspiration, it's important to recognize that every situation is unique. What works for one person may not necessarily work for you. Therefore, conducting your own research and making informed decisions are crucial. Remember, debt is neither inherently good nor bad. It's all about how you use it. When approached strategically, the power of debt lies in your hands, but it requires careful calculation, foresight, patience, diligence, and above all, responsibility.
At our channel, we delve into financial concepts in a way that everyone can comprehend and apply. We strive to empower our viewers with actionable insights to improve their financial well-being. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave your comments to support us on this journey toward financial empowerment. Additionally, it's important to note that while we provide examples and insights, our recommendations are not intended as personalized investment advice. Each individual's financial situation and goals vary, so it's crucial to conduct thorough research and consider professional guidance before making any investment decision.